excited to get our first SEC game coming up Saturday. Ole Miss has a really good team, a lot of speed, a lot of explosiveness, both sides of the ball. They do so much defensively. They're simple but complicated, if that makes sense. And the line movements that they do, they're not a heavy bring two blitz team, but they are one, and they come from corner, from safety, from Mike Backer, from Willie. A lot of different movements there that we have to be ready for, and they've got some big guys and talented guys doing the movement. Offensively, certainly have to be prepared for two different type of offenses, whether Simmons is healthy or whether he's not. They proved when they brought in their second team quarterback that they could move the football in their, what I call wildcat, but in their which he can really throw the ball. That he didn't have to last week, certainly because of the situation in the game. But when they do that, it's certainly different than it was last year because they had the big man running majority of that last year. Really good offensive line, a lot of speed on the outside, and certainly well coached. So we have a lot of respect. We're looking forward to going over there, looking forward to be a night game, national TV game. We just have to have a really good week of practice, which we have had the first 2 weeks, and we'll continue to do that this week as well.
Does that make it difficult on you guys not knowing Simmons' availability and having to prepare, I guess, for the two quarterbacks now?
I think it always does, adds a little bit to it. However, their offense is their offense. Both of them are very talented, running the football as well as throwing it. So you're still going to have contain and have somebody, we elect to spy him or whatever it may be. You're still going to have somebody responsible for him. Yes, it would be more difficult if we didn't know and they played the entire game with number 6 instead of Simmons or whatever. But we'll be prepared, and we have to prepare for both of those type offenses anyway. So we're going to use a lot of that today, getting ready for the Wildcat type situation that they run.
Given how last year's game went here in Fayetteville, then putting up 63, still throwing the ball late in the game, and then 3 of the players on your roster now on their roster, is this a circle the calendar kind of game, and do you play into that with your team in terms of just what happened last year and everything else?
Yeah, I think there's always, so you prepare your team. If your team, we have a good enough team, and we do, and if we play well, we can play with anybody on our schedule. And I may be the only guy that believes that, but I believe it with all. Well, no, I'm not. I got 115 that believe that as well. But, Trey, there's got to be – each game has different motivational factors behind it. They all do. Last week was for the state. It was a state championship to some aspect of a state championship game. So you find different things that have extra motivation. We should have enough to motivate ourselves, but something. And so certainly the way we got beat last year in that game, it has to have some motivation. The problem with that is a bunch of our kids that are playing on our team weren't here for it. Now, it should motivate the guys that were embarrassed because it was an embarrassing night. Certainly there are things there that we'll talk about after. We certainly need a great week of practice to prepare ourselves, but that may be part of the motivation.
Does that message extend to the coaching staff as well? I mean, you guys, the coaches were here last year. I mean, is that something you'll bring up with the coaches?
Yeah, it's already been extended. It was extended last night. And we have to do a better job. a lot of their points last year came on big play bombs, and it was bam, 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 bam. And, of course, Jackson Dart was on point, and they protected well. But a lot of them were explosive plays, just boom, boom, boom. And, it's hard to come back from that if they're scoring so fast.
One more question for me about last year's game. I think afterwards you kind of hinted there might be some concern about tipping plays, and I think when you spoke with us the next week, you said you did the research. I mean, how much of that has been a thought when thinking about this game in the off season?
Yeah, all off season with that. We certainly had a conversation again last night about that, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong. I mean, if someone's telling me what they're doing offensively every play and I know it, then I'm probably going to use it. I don't look at that as anything, and I'm not saying they did or anything like that. I'm just saying that we're the only ones should know what we're running, unless they have some tendency on us. We're the only one that should know what we're running, and whether we're playing Ole Miss or whomever.
I wonder if you could give us some injury updates. Any chance for Okie this week? And then Monte Harrison, we saw him on crutches. What's the latest with him?
Yeah, Okie, he's going to run today, and we'll see if he can. Guys, if you don't practice, you're not going to play very good. I mean, that's just how it is. So I don't know that he'll practice today. If he can get in and practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then we'll take him and we'll play him. Let's look back. It's amazing. It doesn't really matter how good you are. If you don't practice, you're not going to play very good. Now, there may be an instance here and there, but there's a million instances where that's true. Take Xavier Sorey, for example. Didn't practice much before we played Alabama A&M. 1 tackle. Practiced the entire week, 15 tackles, half a sack, interception, much different deal. So we've got guys that if Okie's not ready to go, we got guys we feel like would play better. So just depends. He needs to practice at least 3 days this week. He will not today, so we'll see. Did you ask somebody? Monte's he's hurt. He broke his foot, and so he's going to decide whether he wants to have that surgery or not. But he's going to be out for a while, if not for the season.
And I'm sorry to tack Lee on, but while we're doing it, if we can knock it out, Philip Lee.
Philip should be fine.
Your secondary is basically overhauled since last year's game. How better prepared do you think you might be for that kind of attack versus where you were last year?
Well, hopefully we're better. It's hard to tell. We certainly feel like we are, but we haven't been tested like we're going to get tested Saturday. So we'll find out more about us. But we're very confident going in. But we'll find out more where we are, how much man coverage we can play against them. They've got a tremendous amount of speed. Their quarterback's accurate, good player. He worries me about his scramble ability as well, but you didn't ask about that. But I think secondary-wise, as you stated, I mean, it was embarrassing for us last year, not only the kids but the coaches, everybody. And so we do think we can do a better job this year than we did last year, and we just got to have a good week of practice. But we have confidence in our guys.
Lane's had a documentary, I think, done on him, and he seems to be maturing into the situation there. You think it's good having him in the league, and just what do you think about him and his style, maybe?
Yeah, yes, I think it's good having him in the league. He's a lot of people don't know him like I do. He's a good person. He's a good man. He just wants to win games, and that's what he's hired to do. But I think he brings something to the league. You're always talking about Ole Miss, and SEC is attached to that. So, yeah, I think he's really good for the league.
I have a special teams question for you. I know after the game you talked about, needing to tackle the guy on the return, but after looking at the film of that, was there anything else you kind of noticed, or is it straight up just a tackle?
We just lost contain, and we missed 2 tackles in there. Whether that be personnel-wise, what we need to do, or we just need to do a better job of coaching. Once he broke, he's got a lot of speed, and we didn't have anybody on the field that could catch him. It was a really good play by him. I mean, he did some really good things there. It is concerning. They were going to go to the field, and he broke it back to the boundary. If we have enough speed on the field, if we have enough defensive players on the field that are used to tackling, I think those are some of the things that brought up after the return.
We talked a lot in the preseason about just how much bigger the guys in your secondary are. I know it's early, but how have you kind of seen that? How have you seen the benefits from just the size difference from last year to this year?
Well, I think the size matters because we are tackling better. I think a lot of times when you want to tackle a guy, you have a chance to tackle him a little bit more than, man, he's really big and I'm not, type situation. So they have a lot of confidence back there. I do too. With you having corners that are 6'2" and big and 200-some pounds. Just makes a difference to me. And I'm not saying any small guy can't play. I'm not saying that, but because we've proven that they can. But having SEC size over there gives us a little bit more of an advantage, and I feel like we're doing I think Kanai's playing really well.
Did Devin Bale get hurt on Saturday as well? I noticed he wasn't holding for the PATs or anything.
Yeah, he did. But he's going to be fine. He'll practice today. But let's look at that. The man kicks a 62-yard punt. There's a good and a bad in this now. He kicks a 62-yard punt, and the good is they netted 50. We netted 53, and he made the tackle. Now that's incredible. I mean, it just is. It's sort of like the no play of the week. That's incredible. You don't kick it 62 yards and you make – I did it in high school, but, I mean, I ain't seen that since then. And now, the bad thing is punters shouldn't be making the tackle, so we've got to do a better job of getting down there. But he's fine, and he'll be good. It's amazing how valuable he is to our team because, as you just spoke about, he kicking off. So you lose one guy. You lose your kickoff guy, your punt guy, and your holder. One guy. So he's got unbelievable amount of value, and he does every one of them well.
And Trey asked you earlier about the motivations. I'm curious specifically. I mean, Patrick Kudus is a guy that you told you last year that he was going to be a hog and going to be back, and now you're going against him. I mean, is there any added motivation for you personally with something like that?
No, not at all. I think 3 guys went over there, and unfortunately a couple of them's been hurt, but no, not at all. I mean, hell, I've changed my mind a time or two in my life too, and not at all. He's starting for him at right guard, doing a good job, and no, not at all.
A lot of Ole Miss's success in the offensive game so far this season's come on the ground, especially through Quan Lacey. Just what have you seen from him, and just how do you kind of prepare for a guy like that?
Well, I think them and us have the same identical yards rushing. I think they're at 257.5. I think, and I think we are too. So, they do it a little bit like we do too. Different guys getting different carries, but you got to hem him in, and you can't let him out. Say he's got a lot of speed. You got to make sure that you don't lose contain and turn him back inside and see if you can get him on the ground. But he's a really good player for him and got a lot of speed and tough, and so we'll have some kind of schematics to try to slow him down.